Hi students, I hope you had a nice weekend. Go ahead and grab your notes that you should have printed from your computer and get a pencil to complete these notes. If you need to go get those things, please do those now. And then we can begin. So today our lesson is about adding rational numbers, and our learning target is I can add rational numbers. And before we get into the lesson about adding, it seems really easy, but this is what we were talking about in class last week that a lot of you had struggled with. So I want to explain it, and this is you first of all need to know what a rational number is. And a rational number is any number that can be expressed as a fraction. So any number that can be expressed as a fraction. So an example of that is the number 3, because the number 3, if you see here, let me grab my pencil. If you see here, the number 3 can be written as 3 over 1, and that is a fraction. What about the number 2/3? Is this a rational number? Yes, because it can be written as a fraction. And then what about the number 0.1? Is this a rational number? Yes, it is, because this number can be converted into a fraction. Also, please know that negative numbers are also rational numbers, because we can have a negative 3 over 1 and we can still write it as a fraction. So negative numbers are also rational numbers. Okay, so today we're talking about adding these kinds of rational numbers and seeing how we can put them together. And this example you're just going to laugh at because it's so easy, but we do need to do it because it will help us later on. So a positive 3 plus a positive 2 is a positive 5. Agree? You should. We don't really need any extra work there. This is just positive 3 plus positive 2 equals positive 5. Then moving on, we have a fraction here. We've got two fractions actually, and they have some negatives associated with them. So before we move on to this kind of a scary problem, let's look at this problem one more time. So on your paper, go ahead and draw a number line. Oops, your number line should be straight. I'm learning how to use this pen right now, so bear with me. And on your number line, mark, make this one 0, and then label it all the way up to 5. 2, 3, 5. All right, so then this problem is saying start at 3 and then add 2 to it. So we start at 3 right here, and then we add 2 by going 1, 2, and we end on 5, which is why we wrote the 5 up here. And notice when we were adding, which direction did we move? We moved to the right. Now, if we were subtracting, if we had 5, oops, that should be subtraction. Let me change that real fast. If we had 5, take away 2 is 3. It would be the opposite direction, right? We would do 5 take away 2 equals 3. And on my number line, this would be my 5. You can draw this out with me too. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, and on my number line, I would have, I'm going to use a different color for this one. I would start at 5 right here, and I would jump back 2 spaces, and my final answer would be 3 right there. And that's how we know that with subtraction, we're going to be moving to the left. Okay, so that's the typical rule about when you're adding and subtracting. Okay, so now we can go back down and look at this problem again, keeping in mind that when we add, we go to the right. When we subtract, we go to the left. So let's go ahead, and before we even worry about the numbers, let's just draw a number line. Try to get a straight line this time. And it's going to need to go almost across the whole page right there. It's going to be pretty big. So we're working in negative numbers, so let's put our 0 right here. 0 here. And then go ahead and put some dashes, but don't put numbers on them yet. Just put dashes. Let's go ahead and put 8 dashes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. All right, and on a number line, you can designate any increment for these dashes to represent. So I'm going to choose 1/4 increments. So this one right here is going to be 1/4, and it's -1/4 because we're on the left of the 0. This one is going to be -2/4 or -1/2. This one is going to be -3/4. You're going to need to write small. 3/4. And then this one would be -1 because, or -4/4, but -4/4 is the same as -1. This one right here would be -1 and 1/4. 1 and 1/4. This would be -1 and 1/2. Oops, that's my -1 and 1/2. It's kind of small. And so on and so forth. You can finish these ones. This would be -1 and 3/4, and this would be -2. I'm just running out of room on my space right here. Okay, so we know that when we are adding fractions together, we have to have common denominators. And remember, denominators are the numbers in the bottom. And right now, these aren't common denominators. So first, we have to just change them to have common denominators. So let's go ahead and change this 2 into a 4. So we're going to do -3/4 stays the same, plus, and we need this 1/2 to change. So 1/2, I'll do that right here. 1/2, we're going to change, we need to change this to a 4, so 2 times 2 is 4, so we need to do 2/2. 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. 2/4. Okay, so this is my equivalent fraction to 1/2. And don't forget that this was originally negative, so now we just have -2/4. All right, there we go. So here's our new problem, and they both have common denominators. Now we can solve, right? So let's look. -3/4, let me grab a different color. How about blue? All right, so -3/4 is where we start. We're going to start right here. -3/4. Now we're adding, so that means that we should be going to the right, correct? But we are actually adding a negative right here. So this negative almost overrides, and it tells us that we need to go to the left. So with this negative, we're actually going to go to the left like we did in subtraction. Here's 1/4, 2/4. So I landed right here, and -1 and 1/4 is the number I landed on. So -1 and 1/4 is my final answer. -1 and 1/4. All right. Now, right underneath this work that we just did, about right here in this corner, I want to show you the simple way of doing that, because a lot of times, if you've got big numbers, it's going to take a long time to draw out a number line and to think about that as far as a number line goes. So I'd like to show you the way that I like to think about it, and I am going to start using some of these sayings that are on the side. And you've heard me say them in class, but now I'm going to really go over them. So here's the first one. That's add the opposite. The second one is same sign sum. And then the last one is different signs difference. So if we go back up to this first example, 3 plus 2 is 5. Would you agree or disagree that these have the same signs? This is a +3 plus a +2. Would you agree that they have the same sign? Same sign sum. So when we have the same sign, we just take their sum, and we know that sum means addition, right? So we'd add 3 plus 2 and we get 5. And we keep the same sign. Look, notice how this was a +5 and these were positive numbers? So we go same sign sum. What about this one? Here is a -3/4 and a -1/2. Do they have the same sign? Yes, they do. So we just add these numbers together and we keep the sign, which is exactly what we did. We did 3/4 plus 2/4 is 5/4, or you can reduce it to 1 and 1/4. And we kept the sign. We kept the negative in our final answer. So we'll do another one of these here, but If you can think of an example problem, go ahead and write this on the line and pause the video now. And then for when you're finished with that, let's look at this one. We've got -2 plus, parentheses, -3. Okay, well, first we have to look. Do we have same signs or different signs? Well, we've got same signs. So same sign is, we just take the sum. Same sign, sum. So the same sign, well, 2 plus 3 is 5. We know that. We did that up there. And then we have negative signs here, and they're both the same, so they have to be the same in our answer. We have to keep a -5. So -2 plus a -3 is a -5. Okay, go ahead and pause the video if you need a minute to think about this and let it process. That's totally okay. And then we're going to move on to 4 plus -7. Okay, so look at this example here. Now, as you're looking at this, you're going to say, oh no, Mrs. Baker, the signs are different. That's okay, because look, we have a phrase for that. Different signs, difference. So let me tell you what that means. So here we go. Go ahead and draw your number line. I think I'm using green now. And we're going to need some numbers here. Let's put 4 here. And we're going to need about a lot of tick marks right here. So go ahead and label all of these. I'm going to pause the video while I do this so it doesn't waste our time. Go ahead and label all of these 4, 3, 2, 1, counting all the way down. Okay, so here's my number line. It's not the most beautiful thing, but it works. And remember, this first number right here, tells us where to start. So we need to start right here on the 4. And then it says we're going to be adding, so we need to be going to the right, right? Well, actually we don't. Remember how this sign overrides the power? So we need to go backwards 7. So we need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we end on -3. So 4 plus -7 is a -3. Now, to remember this phrase right here, this one is the one that works with these kinds of problems. Different signs, difference. Would you agree that they have different signs here? Here's a +4 and here's a -7. They're different signs, different signs. So we have different signs. We need to take the difference. Well, difference, you already know that. That means subtraction. So anytime you have different signs, you take the bigger number, which is 7, and you subtract 4. You subtract the smaller number. Well, 7 take away 4, that's an easy problem. I know how to do that. 7 take away 4 is 3. And then we just took the difference. So now how do we determine if it's a positive or negative number? Well, I like to say that the bigger number is the boss, and he always controls the sign. So here's a -7, and he's our bigger number because 7 is bigger than 4. So our negative is going to stay with our final answer. So we do different signs, difference, and then -3 is our answer. You're more than welcome to draw the number lines out if you need to, or you can start practicing with the different signs, difference. Okay? Go ahead and on this side too, you can fill this in. You're not going to be able to add the opposite yet. That's okay. We're going to do that in our next video that you're going to watch. All right, so now below here is your turn to practice. Show me, and then you need to show me these notes that you've completed in class. But I just want to see that you know how to do these kinds of problems. So this first one is the different signs difference, and I'll put a little green star next to that. And oh look, this one is different signs difference. And this one is different signs difference. This one is different signs difference. And so is this one. So you mostly just need to know that this different signs difference part up here. Okay? I should have added a same sign sum in there, but we'll do those in class. All right, so go ahead and fill these out and keep these notes in the notes section of your binder. 3-hole punch them if you can, otherwise 3-hole punch them in class. And then I will see you very soon. Have a good day.